Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Sunday. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Sunday, guys. So I'm responding to an email. If you have emailed me and asked me to make a recording on your specific topic, please bear with me. Please give me grace. It's been a very, very busy week at work, and I'm behind on your topics. But I'm now responding to a good sis who basically, I don't have your email pulled up, sis, but to summarize, she said she's a chosen one. And one thing you don't hear people speak about is the hurt of when God calls you away from your family, or you quote unquote outgrow your family because they're toxic or because they refuse to grow. You're on a path of evolving, but yet you have to leave them behind. And even though you know that they're toxic or they may add no value to your life, at the end of the day, these are people who you've loved all of your life because you've grown up with them. Let it be siblings, parents, cousins, aunts, uncles, things like that. So that's really what her email was based upon. So I just want to kind of piggyback off some of the things that we shared. So basically, chosen ones, remember you were chosen, you answered the call. So on many occasions, God will call you to go a different direction and to do things differently. Many times you will be called to break generational cycles, generational norms, or curses, whatever you deem the term to be. If you have came from toxic upbringing, this can look like narc parents, narcissist siblings, just overall just toxic. That can look like addictions, that can look like trauma responses and triggers, and so on. Toxic is toxic. And the thing about it is, a lot of people don't even know that they're toxic. If you were raised one way and all you know is one way of thinking, and you've never been exposed to anything else, then you really can believe that your behaviors are normal, when in fact it can be very toxic. You may have not even experienced a healthy, wholesome marriage, but yet you feel that God is calling you to marriage. You may have not experienced certain things, maybe around financial literacy, but you feel like God is calling you to a business. You feel like there's a lot of things that you feel like God has promised you and God have called you to, but a lot of your toxic ways are not adding up. So God has been clear to you, telling you that in order for you to get the things that He has for you, you have to heal. Well, a lot of the times it's hard to heal in the very environments that have traumatized you, right? So you got individuals who may be sweeping things under the rug. You can have a uncle, a grandfather, a father or cousin in the family who have molested everybody, but everybody's sweeping things under the rug. And here you feel as if these things are really haunting your life and you can't move forward, and you're trying to shake everybody up to say, hey, everybody needs to get on one accord. Everyone needs to heal. Everyone needs to have a family meeting, a meeting of the minds. We all need to put everything on the table because it's time to heal, blase, 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 blase. And then they're all looking at you like you're crazy. Like, what do you mean? And before you know it, they may all flip on you to make it seem like you're the problem. Well, you got to understand that if God is calling you higher, He's calling you higher. He's not calling the people. Well, He may be. Maybe they answer the call, or maybe it's just a completely different direction. But He's calling you in a completely different direction. And too many times as people, we get caught up on the fact that we want to bring everybody with us. So we think everybody should see what we see. But God placed the vision, the download, the prompting into your spirit, not your dad, not your cousins, into your spirit. But because it's normal, right, and conditioning to want to have the people around you who you feel safe, even though that safe is a toxic safe, it's all you know. So now God is trying to pull you out of a toxic environment and introduce you to peace, and introduce you to things that you should have always been exposed to, but it feels foreign to you. So many people would choose to stay in a toxic environment, even though it's unhealthy, even though you're dealing with anxiety and depression because of the environment. But most people would choose to stay there because change is difficult. Change is uncomfortable. So this is why, again, it would have to be obedience over emotions. When you hear God telling you to make a move, and whatever that move may be, your obedience is to God, even when you don't understand. And then along the way, as God processes you, he will start to introduce you to your soul tribe. He will introduce you to people who are living according to the life that he's calling you to live. That can look like healthy relationships and partnerships and marriages. That can look like people who are already established in their purpose and their calling, things like that. So many times it's going to be completely different individuals from your friends that you grew up with or your family, things like that. And so a lot of people will go back because they will feel alone within the process. You have to be alone within the process. This is why a lot of you guys are in isolation season, because God is really trying to work on you before he introduces you to your soul tribe and the people who are going to help you to live a happy, wholesome life. But because the process feels so raw, you're going to want to run back because you don't know what God is actually doing. You have to sit in the process and allow him to work on you and transform you and introduce you to the things that he want to bless you with. So it's true. It's very difficult to leave people behind, right? These can look like childhood friends who you've known since you were 5 and 6 years old, but their life is on a different path. And you can't force them to change. You can't force them to grow. You can't force them to want to see better. So you have to take a step out on faith, right? And learn to love with boundaries. Learn to love at a distance. And the more and more as time go on, you will get comfortable with boundaries. You will get comfortable at not allowing toxic behaviors to keep transforming into your life, because once God starts opening certain doors for you, let that be a healthy, wholesome marriage, a ministry, a job, whatever it is that you're asking for, what God has promised you, once God has opened that door for you, you bringing all that toxic behavior from your past, your family or your friends or whoever's toxic in your past, even baby daddies and baby mamas and people who are just latching on and just full of toxic behaviors, is going to be detrimental to the environments where God is trying to take you. So God is growing you up. This is why you may be the first one to have to go to therapy, right? The first one to have to take an anger management course. The first one to have to take this, that, and the third, whatever. Courses, whatever. Whatever it is that God is calling you to do, he's convicting you to be the first one to do it. You answered the call. So this is more or less about your destiny. This is about making an intentional decision to allow your heart to break one time, right? Understanding that it's time for you to move forward if God is calling you forward. So it's important to understand again that you're chosen. And being chosen is a very, very difficult path. But it's going to be a path that leads you to purpose, calling, and all the blessings that God has for you, that one day you'll be able to go back and help the ones who want help. But remember, everybody don't want help. One of the main issues with chosen people or just very highly sensitive people is we want to try to see what's the word I'm looking for? Not perspective. What's the word when you think somebody can change, or you feel like if you pour into them, they can change, you can fix them. I don't even know. But you got to understand that's your thinking. People will only change when they want to change. Many times you leading by example will also help people to want better for themselves. But many times they don't even know that it's better because no one have set the example that better exists. So you take the step knowing that you will be able to go back and help the ones who want help. But then you have to be careful, because the ones who don't want help, you find yourself also trying to help them, and then before you know it, they're bringing you down. So you have to be very careful about that. So yes, sis, if you feel like God is calling you, and many times again, it's separation. Separation comes before elevation. But if you feel like God is calling you to relocate, if you feel like God is calling you to leave the country, whatever it is that God is calling you to do, then a lot of the times He have to separate you first. Some people get separated and sent back, but it's also once you have already built, God has already built your core. So even if He's sending you back, you won't revert back to toxic behaviors. If anything, it will disturb your spirit so much that you can't even stay around it. But separation comes before elevation. So in this season, God is calling a lot of people to relocate, a lot of people to start pulling away from toxic people, even though those people may be people that you truly love. But in many situations, in order for you to get the blessing that God has for you, you're going to have to be obedient over your emotions. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.